When you talk to one manufacturer, you hear a story. When you talk to hundreds, patterns emerge. Today, we step back and examine what those patterns tell us about the real state of electronics manufacturing. Welcome, or hopefully welcome back to Reliability Matters. Today's episode takes a step back from individual processes and technologies to look at the electronics manufacturing industry through a broader editorial lens. My guest today is Trevor Galbraith, publisher of Global SMT Packaging, one of the industry's valuable trade publications. As a publisher, Trevor speaks with manufacturers, suppliers, technologists, and industry leaders from around the world. That gives him a unique vantage point, not just on where the industry is investing, but where it's struggling, where expectations and reality diverge, and how issues like reliability, workforce challenges, supply chain pressure, automation, and standards are truly playing out on the factory floor. In this Meet the Press style conversation, we'll explore the current state of electronics manufacturing, how reliability is being prioritized or deprioritized amid cost and speed pressure, whether manufacturing processes are keeping pace with design complexity, and what Trevor sees ahead for the industry over the next 5 to 10 years. This episode isn't about promoting solutions, it's about understanding the landscape, asking hard questions and gaining perspective from someone who hears unfiltered voices across the entire electronics manufacturing ecosystem. My conversation with Trevor Galbraith begins right now. Stick around.
Welcome to Reliability Matters, a podcast for the electronic assembly industry. Each episode covers topics related to reliability, best practices, and environmentally responsible assembly techniques, with insights from experts across the electronic assembly industry. Now, here's your host, Mike Conrad.
Trevor Galbraith, my friend, how are you?
I'm great. I'm good to see you again, Mike. Nice to be on this side of the microphone for a change.
It's an unusual side to see you on. Usually, you are conducting interviews in booths and in your in exhibitors' booths and in your booth and on the road and all of that. So we pinned you down. We get to ask the asker of questions. So.
Oh, great. Well, I'm
it's
looking
been
forward
a lot
to
of
it.
years. I've known you for a lot of years.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I almost don't want to think about how many years because it makes me feel old.
15, yeah, I could think of, maybe 20.
Yeah, at least, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome to the program. I'm glad to have you back on. The last time you were on was a couple years ago in a panel and then 5 years ago in a panel. And one of those is going to come back to haunt you today. So just a little bit of a teaser.
Okay.
Let's start off with this question. How would you describe the current state of the global electronics manufacturing industry?
Wow. Okay. Well, it's a really interesting question because, frankly, the answer is going to be it's very fragmented. If you look at Asia, for example, they're really busy, obviously benefiting from everybody looking for the China plus one. So the winners are obviously Vietnam, Malaysia, places like that. India is going gangbusters, and Europe is extremely slow for a variety of reasons that we'll come on to later. United States seems to be quite busy and quite active at the moment. China, business is slow, but the innovation and the time to market is very fast. I had a really interesting discussion yesterday. I had a meeting with our rising stars, which we call them, that we have at getting ready for Apex this year. And one of them made a really interesting statement. He said, "How do you keep up with the speed of China?"
Right.
Now, if you think about that, these are the guys that build hospitals in 3 days, but right. they are very good at innovating their way out of problems and bringing things to market very, very quickly. Both on an industrial level. And even at a government level, if a decision has to be made, it gets made very quickly. And we tend to be unfortunately, the opposite from that. We tend to be very slow and cumbersome in sort of getting around to making our decisions. So that was just an interesting observation.
Yeah, I think they have such a head start. We have given them such a head start and
Sure.
helped fuel that head start that, it would be like jumping into a formula race halfway through the race. It's
Right.
We're sitting there at the start line 10 laps in and expected to catch up. Also,
Yeah, I think sorry.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think one of the things that predicated the move to China was that a lot of our Western engineers and production managers went out there to teach them, to literally get these factories up and running. Now that the system's going in reverse and we're going back towards a sort of regionalization system, that's not happening the other way around. We're not having floods of Chinese engineers coming here and teaching us.
Right. Yeah, we're on our own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks. We'll take it from here. That's
Yeah.
Also, I think the difference, to their credit, the credit of the Chinese, is government funded much of that growth and innovation. And, the government built the cities just for industrial applications. And we don't have that here. I don't think any other country in the world has it anywhere near that scale, where if the government wants to have a manufacturing center in a specific region, it's built overnight, right? All the infrastructure is there.
Yeah, it is, and they decide at a government level they want to control certain industries. For example, the manufacture of solar panels or PCBs and this type of thing, and it's quite significant. They put the money behind it, and it has a very big knock-on effect. For example, if you look at PCBs, Europe now is literally going down to less than 2% of the world's PCBs. It's only got one rolling mill left because Panasonic closes at the end of this year. So there's only going to be one left. Over here in the United States, US is 2% of the world's capacity. And if you speak to any manufacturers, the first thing about this, they'll say, well, even if we get 100% tariffs on top of PCBs, we can still buy them cheaper. So why is that? There's got to be a reason for that. And the reason is that the PCBs themselves are subsidized.
Yes, right. Because the cost of raw materials is pretty much the same around the world, right? If we don't meddle with it, if our governments don't meddle with it, the base cost of rare earth minerals or laminates or chemicals are within a very small measurable difference. So, and labor rates, albeit labor rates are lower in pretty much all Asian countries and Eastern European countries, not enough to significantly affect the price. The scale is so different, pennies versus dollars.
Yes.
The difference certainly it's not in materials. It's not entirely on labor. Labor is not 99.9% of the cost. So it's I don't know. I think it comes down to efficiency and optimization. And
yes, they use state of the art equipment. That's one thing. And another thing, if you look at it from the assembly point of view, it's very typical that they will replace a whole line instead of replacing one machine on the line. And you're only as quick and as efficient as the slowest machine on your line.
That's right.
So they think nothing of replacing the whole line. But then again, you also have to factor in they're working at higher volumes and can afford to do that.
Yeah, speed begets speed begets speed, and efficiency brings on more efficiency.
Right.
Are there particular sectors like automotive, aerospace, medical, consumer that are driving most of the activity today?
Yeah, of course, AI is the big one, isn't it?
It's the big gorilla in the room right now.
The gorilla in the room is, the AI data centers, etc. So that's certainly the big one. But unfortunately, the other one closely following that at the moment is military. Military is very strong. And a
We
lot
just
of
have
our
to watch the news on any given night, and you can see why the military is strong. We're involved in a lot of stuff right now, and we're providing a lot of stuff right now. Stuff meaning military hardware to Ukraine and who knows who else. So yeah, we got a lot going on.
Well, I mean that's true, and I somebody showed me a document at Productronica that showed the back orders for BA Systems, which make a lot of military, was $75 billion.
Wow,
and
back order, $75 billion. Wow,
yeah,
that's staggering.
Another German company, very large German manufacturer, with a $54 billion back order for military. So it's very considerable. But these are the two sectors that are sort of going at the moment.
Yeah. And those two sectors, by the way, there's going to be, if there isn't already, a huge intersection of AI and military. All these autonomous drones and things like that use AI for targeting and all that. There's a huge intersection there.
That's a scary bit, isn't it? It used to be soldiers fighting soldiers. Now it's drones and machines bombing us.
Yeah, it's drones and machines and hacker attacks on infrastructure. Software attacks. It's a new world, Trevor. It's a new world. I grew up with G.I. Joes, the little plastic action toy, the male version of a Barbie, right? And I don't know, kids are going to grow up with like G.I. drone or something now, the automated soldier. What micro pressures or macro pressures, supply chain, labor, geopolitics are having the greatest impact right now?
Okay. I would say all of the above.
Yes, on all of them. Yeah.
Everyone's having to do second and third level sourcing. Digital brokers, you pretty much have to use a digital broker to get visibility. That's very important of your supply chain. Some manufacturers, or a lot of manufacturers, are getting around the labor problems by introducing more automation and more robotics. Geopolitics have put a lot of projects on hold at the moment. There are still quite a lot of projects that are, have been put on hold because they don't know what the final landed cost of the goods is going to be, with all the different tariffs changing all the time.
Yeah, I've heard that business can handle tariffs. They can handle a lot of things. What it can't handle is uncertainty.
It's true.
Because you can't make a financial investment plan if you don't know what certain factors are going to be. Right, exactly. So it's uncertainty is that it kills the market when there's a lot of uncertainty, because who wants to invest? Do they buy bonds or do they buy stocks? No one knows, right? So uncertainty is a killer for sure.
Yeah.
You returned recently from Productronica in Munich. From this side of the pond, I was, watching all the activity that you and others published online. It seemed like from this standpoint, it seemed like a pretty impressive show this year, or last year actually. What was the overall impression of the show this year for you?
Well, we went into Productronica this year with fairly low or last year, should I say, now, with fairly low expectations. We knew the market had been extremely slow in Germany. The automotive business had been decimated. So we weren't expecting an awful lot, and we were absolutely amazed and shocked to see how busy it was. It was absolutely humming. And I can't remember a year looking back when it's been so busy. It was really humming. What was driving that? Well, after about the second day and talking to a lot of people throughout the show, it became clear that the things that were driving it were 5G, people preparing for 6G, and military.
Hmm.
That's what everybody was talking about. Not even so much about AI. Very little talk about AI. Europe's behind in the AI race. Unfortunately. Uh,
Yeah,
but
interesting. It's interesting that this was, in at least in terms of recent times, kind of a record-breaking show in terms of attendance
mhm, yes,
and buzz in a geographic area that has slowed down so much from a manufacturing standpoint.
right.
There was this dichotomy of facts. Fact one, busy show. Fact two, slow economy. And
Right.
slowing economy.
And slowing.
Usually the two are paralleled, but in this case, there's a slow economy and a lot of eager anticipation that it's going to change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the German manufacturing business is very much built on the back of the automotive industry,
Yeah,
and it has suffered really badly over, both with energy costs and raw materials, and then with EVs, and unfortunately, the Chinese are, letting the EVs to come in, or sorry, the German government's allowing the Chinese to bring EVs into Europe, and it's just killing the industry.
yeah,
And when you look at companies like Tesla or BYD or some of these other Chinese manufacturers of EVs, I don't look at these companies as car manufacturers. I look at these companies as big EMS companies because
yes,
that's essentially what they are. And they're very vertically orientated. The problem with a lot of the German car manufacturers is that they don't really understand electronics, and so what they do is they buy modules. They say, well, I'm going to buy a seat module from Bosch to operate these heated seats. I'm going to buy this module from Continental to do this, to handle the infotainment or whatever. And none of these modules talk to each other. They're all built with
yeah.
their own software, and it's a nightmare putting it all together. Um,
And that's why it
whereas,
costs, $4 or $5,000 to replace a infotainment screen. I mean,
right,
it's crazy.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So they have all these challenges, and then at the same time, BYD's just brought out its $14,000 car, brand new.
yeah,
Tesla's close to doing the same. So they're taking all the value out of that industry. They're commoditizing it.
yeah.
Um,
You,
and I don't know how they're going to come back from that.
when Tesla first arrived on the scene,
Mm.
after the Roadster, when they started building,
Yeah,
the Model S, for example, they were criticized, rightly so, for having rather poor workmanship. Panel
yeah,
gaps were a famous, everyone's posting pictures of a panel gap. It's a 16th of an inch on the left of the trunk and a half an inch on the right of the trunk. And I got to the point where if I got behind a Tesla, I'm looking at the panel gaps, trying to see,
yeah,
can I take a
yeah.
picture? But they had the best tech of any car on the market. So what I've concluded from that is, if you look back historically, Tesla really was a tech company learning how to
Yeah.
build a car, to your
Right.
earlier point, EMS
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
Detroit, I say Detroit is the legacy car manufacturers, internal combustion engine, the ICE cars.
Mm.
Detroit was a car company trying to learn tech because
Yes.
the earlier days of technology in traditional ICE automobiles, and even today, their software is nowhere near as advanced as an average EV,
Yeah.
except for except for Detroit's average EVs. It's pretty much the same. But
Yeah.
Whether it's Tesla or Lucid or the many other electric only car companies, each are coming from the opposite direction. So what I've seen is Tesla's getting way better at building cars. The Czech's always been good, but they're getting way better at building cars. Yeah. And the legacy car companies are getting better. Maybe not at quite the same speed, but they are getting better at the tech. So there's each are coming from an opposite direction.
Opposite direction, yeah. The other dynamic is that the Teslas of this world are a lot more flexible. For example, when the market slows down for EVs, as they have done to an extent over here, they can pivot more towards building robots and other things.
Right. He can dig tunnels. He can launch rockets. He can He can sell more satellite receivers and
Right.
You're right. Tesla's not exclusively just cars.
Right.
What's the buzz on IPC Apex this year? We have that coming up in March.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things about Apex. That's interesting. First of all, the theme of the show is adding two significant new areas to it. One is going to be more, they're adding a big design component to the show, which they haven't had in previous years. And the second one is advanced packaging. Now, IPC, or what's it called? What is the acronym? The new name? It's
Global Electronics Association.
Global Electronics Association.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I think they shouldn't have stopped there. They should have just been the Intergalactic Electronics Association. But global. And do not say GEA. We all
no, you're not allowed to say that.
They don't want. Someone told me, do not say GEA. We are the Global Electronics Association.
Okay, so the Global Electronics Association is trying very hard to get more involved in advanced packaging, and rightly so, because that is where the technology is heading. I believe they're trying to start a big advanced packaging show in Malaysia this year. It actually also folds into what we're doing as a company ourselves. I mean, we're actually launching a dedicated global advanced packaging magazine.
I saw that. Yeah, that's exciting.
This year. So that's coming up.
You're starting off with, am I right in saying you're starting off with quarterly issues? Is that correct? Yeah.
That's correct. It probably will end up with 3 issues this year, actually, probably than 4. But we're assembling a new team specifically for that publication. So Gillian McNichol joined us in January, who used to work for 3D Insights, Francois Van Trapp's podcast. And we've got some new people coming on the marketing side and on the sales side as well. So
you're going to be the Rupert Murdoch of electronic magazines. You're going to have a portfolio of magazines now.
Well, I don't know. So the way it works in publishing is each title is almost like a small business in itself.
Sure,
it needs its own team.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. So we're super excited about that. And looking forward to that. Again, we'll be having our rising stars. Of course, our rising stars this year are going to be Victoria Rowinski, Reinhard Seidel, and of course Adam Klett. So that's Kaizen. 3 young, from Kaizen. So 3 young PhDs that are coming up with lots of ideas, and we discussed a whole range of different technology topics that they're going to be discussing at the show. So we'll be having them, and hopefully we'll be having a couple of episodes of the Reliability Matters podcast.
Of course, I'd be happy to do that. Yeah, that seems to be a tradition.
Yeah, it is, and of course Keith Bryant will be there with the Keith Bryant show. So
I'll be seeing Victoria Rowinski. Speaking of her, in a couple of weeks in Hawaii at PAMPAC.
Right.
She'll be speaking there as well as myself. So it's always good to see her. That's a good concentrated short list on rising stars, and I would agree with that definition.
Yeah.
Certainly, they are forces to be reckoned with, and
Yeah.
headed to be even bigger than that.
Yeah.
Do you see any standout technologies or themes or announcements that signal where the industry is headed? And I'm going to throw you one bone, AI, obviously, right?
Well, AI is an obvious one, of
Every
course.
answer is going to have the AI in it somewhere.
Well, actually, technologies. I mean, I think the most recent uh, challenging technology that's come on the market is this new printer from Keyron. Uh, that has the potential to be an industry game changer. But
You talking about a
you know
stencil
that
printer?
no, it's actually a laser based. It's using lift technology,
Mm,
laser informametric. I can't remember exactly what the acronym stands
yeah,
for, but it basically uses a laser through a glass plate to deposit soil paste on the underside. Uh, with great precision and great amounts, so you can deposit any volume of paste that
really
you
good for the
want.
UHDI world and this ultra
Right.
miniaturized world, right?
Correct, and also for people that using step stencils and that kind of thing. You
Sure,
don't
because
need
you
to
can
use
adjust
that.
the deposition height. You don't have to
Correct.
build it up
Right.
or
Right.
down
Right.
mechanically, right?
Yeah. So the first version that's coming out is hitting the streets now. I mean, they're being delivered to the first sites at the moment. So we'll be a few months down the road. Maybe by the time we get to Apex, we'll have some of the first results from these systems working in the field. But it certainly holds a lot of potential because the stencil printer has been the old boy of the line for years. Is where they say most of the defects come from.
Sure.
It's and this system eliminates a lot of these issues.
Yeah.
And
Can it
of
scale?
course,
I mean,
well,
one reason we've stuck with stencils is because once it's all set up, uh, it's 8 seconds or 10 seconds to print a
sure.
stencil.
Sure, sure. Not in the initial stages, Mike. I mean, it's going to be in the first version is going to be good for prototyping and small batch run. Uh, there's a version 2 planned, which I believe is going to be a complete redesign as well, and that's going to come in to be able to do mid volume. So through time, uh, the plan is to make it a full service machine.
Were there any notable shifts in the tone of the show? I'm going back to Prototronica
Mhm.
compared to past years. Any
Yeah,
different flavor buzz?
uh, there was there's a lot of real challenges and innovations at the packaging end. I mean, Semicon Europa, for example, has grown from one hall to 4 halls at Prototronica. So which is following the trend of there's so many challenges going on with thermal challenges. Uh, Miniaturization, all sorts of heterogeneous integration. There's so much going on at that end. That seems to be where a lot of the action is. But yeah, that was really mostly my feedback from Productronica.
What do you see as the next major evolution or maybe even revolution in electronics manufacturing?
Keyron, if it works.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would certainly be a game changer.
Yeah.
How is AI embedding itself into manufacturing processes, and what are the most meaningful use cases you're seeing?
Ooh. Let's see now. Um, Most notably through inspection systems. They seem to be using lots of different areas of AI, ranging from automatic programming to assisted inspection. In other words, it doesn't allow the operator to make a mistake. It checks his work, as it were. The improvements to kitting and component flow using alerts and pick-to-light technology and stuff like that. And then, of course, being able to pass a lot of this information up into larger MES systems who can do the heavy data crunching and then send instructions back down to the line to optimize the process. So, there's a lot happening there.
Going back to advanced packaging, you mentioned you're starting a new advanced packaging magazine. What role do you see advanced packaging playing in the next few years? I mean, clearly you see an expanding role because you're expanding into it.
Right. Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, heterogeneous integration, which is happening currently at the chip level, the packaging level, is I see that expanding across the PCBA. In other words, all materials need to be in spec. They have to be within a certain tolerances, etc. But even more so than they are today. So that's going to be one change. There's going to be continued thermal and miniaturization changes. I think when you look at some of these data centers where some of these chips run really, really hot, they're using liquid cooling at the moment. I think liquid cooling, quite frankly, is a bit of a band-aid. It's really something that's going to eventually be replaced, I think, more with the photonics. And I think photonics is going to be where it's going to head.
Controlling the temperatures natively rather than throwing a bunch of refrigerant or water or whatever at it.
Right.
Well, that certainly will be a big thing with AI, because these AI data centers right now, are taking huge volumes of water to cool it down, and that's one of the location. That's why you probably won't see a giant data center near me in Los Angeles, right? Because we steal all our water from all the other states.
Well, they're trying to put them into colder places. Colder environments up further north. And the problem is even using these liquid cooling systems, these units, these data center units, they only have a life expectancy of 4 to 5 years. Then they have to get swapped out again, and they're hugely expensive. I mean, the chips in these things are enormously expensive. So if they can find, I think photonics is probably the route, because photonics, you don't have the heat. Light travels 4 times faster than electricity along a copper track. So I think that has got to be, the direction for the future. I may be wrong. Something else might come along, but that's what I can see.
I'm recording this, so 5 years from now, I'm going to play this back, and we're gonna see if your prediction stands the test of time. What do you believe are the biggest challenges for EMS companies today?
Now, manufacturers are certainly a lot more open to automation and robotics and that sort of thing, which is something that a couple of years ago wasn't even on their radar, quite frankly. But nowadays they're quite open to looking to invest in that. At the end of the day, automation is, these and robots, they don't sleep. You can work 24/7, and once they're set up correctly, your reliability and your first pass yield goes up.
Yeah, not only do they work 24 hours a day, they don't sue you if they get injured. I had a guy in my factory stub his finger. Quite literally, he said, I pushed my finger against a piece of steel. Like,
right.
Why? He goes, I don't know. I just kind of did this. And he got $150,000 from us.
What?
Yeah, $150,000 from us.
Why was that your fault?
It was, but it happened in my factory. It happened in my factory. Therefore, it's the rule of liability law is in for a penny, in for a pound. So if I'm 1% responsible, but I've got 100% of the money, I get 100% of the, yeah. This is California, by the way. So welcome to California. And I know you're in Florida. They have their thing too, yeah, it's on the subject of robots. It does make the concept of robotic manufacturing a little bit more pleasant, right? Because you have those crazy things.
Well, I think it's coming. I mean, Foxconn have now opened their fifth or their sixth lights out factory. They've got 3 of them in China, and I think they've got 2 of them in Vietnam.
I love the term lights out factory, although it's, I have to think there's a few able-bodied people there, but I get the principle of it. Do you see, you talked earlier about China plus one and all these different, strategies to kind of diversify manufacturing for good reason. Are there particular pain points that you hear about consistency across these different regions? Does someone say, well, I'm going to send it to country A because it's just a consumer product, I don't need the same level of quality, but this type of product has to go to this country because they're better at that? Or are all of the countries that are involved in the EMS world, are they all kind of relatively similar in terms of capacity? Not scale. I'll give China scale, but like, for example, is Vietnam, do they build with the same level of quality as China or?
They're very good. Yeah,
Brazil
Vietnam has got one of the highest levels of graduate engineers in the world. I mean, they're extremely clever. But I think there are some regional differences. I mean, Asia, and especially Malaysia, is very strong for advanced packaging. I mean, this is crazy. You look at the CHIPS Act here, and the government's poured a lot of money into manufacturing chips, but these chips then have to go to Asia or somewhere like that to get packaged and then brought back here to get put onto a board, which seems crazy. So
it certainly wasn't a holistic approach to supporting an industry. It was a selective approach.
Yeah, they're absolutely. They have to get both Europe and the US have to get their act together as far as getting an end-to-end supply chain. India's done the best job by far in that respect. But if you're looking at it regionally, I have to say Europe is probably the sick man of the industry at the moment. It's excessively high energy costs. It's got environmental constraints and a collapsing automotive industry,
and generally a high tax rate too. At least in some, some big countries in Europe are known for their tax rate.
Yeah,
are politics? This is almost a rhetorical question because obviously I know what the answer is going to be, but. Are politics colliding with business? And I'm talking about tariffs and political instability, financial insecurity, et cetera. How's that? Are they? And in
obviously,
what aspects? Yeah, obviously, yeah.
I mean, very much so. Yeah, duh. But I actually, personally, I hate it when governments get involved with industry. I went through it years and years ago with the solar industry. We had a solar magazine, and all countries, if you remember back then, were giving incentives for people to put solar panels on their roofs. Sure. And then suddenly Spain stood up one day and said, wait a minute, we can't afford this. And they cancelled the program. And the whole industry globally went into meltdown because there was so much inventory had been produced. And suddenly it wasn't needed.
We see the same thing here with wind farms. There's a place not too far from me between where I'm sitting right now in Palm Springs that you go through. I think it's the U.S.'s largest concentration of wind farms, and on a pass. And
is that the road down to Palm Springs?
Yes.
Yeah.
I-10 on the way to Palm Springs. It's impressive. Half of them aren't even turning, because it was a government incentive program, tax strategy, right, to build all these wind farms. And some are still turning, obviously. In fact, many
Yeah.
are, but many are broken down. The incentives went away. And
Yeah. No, I think the problem with governments getting involved with industry is a problem, because they make big decisions, and these decisions are huge and far-reaching. On the other hand, they exist, I believe, to create the conditions for us all to prosper. But unfortunately, in our case, they're too slow to understand the business case and its needs, and that's why India has sort of jumped ahead of us all. But Europe and US need to basically get the the PCB systems. We need to have more OSATs. We need to have the whole end-to-end supply chain put in place.
from your vantage point, Trevor, what topics consistently get the most attention from readers as a publisher?
Well, readers are always looking, and viewers are always looking for what's new, essentially, and what
The shiny object in the corner.
the shiny object in the corner, and what how to solve tips on how to solve a problem or improve a process. Essentially, these are the key things that they like. Of course, there's always the people that like to see the bad news. If they see about a factory fire or something like that, that
Sure.
always seems to pique
Bad news sells, yeah.
bad news sells. Yeah, but essentially, the reality is that people are looking for to learn. To learn what's new, what their competitors are doing, who's buying who, etc.
Yeah. What should engineers, manufacturers, and suppliers be paying attention to that they might be overlooking?
Interesting. How about video? Because the use of video is a training medium. It's an individual will pick up information much faster and ingest it quicker than using print or audio. So video as a training medium, can have a lot of value.
Yeah, I totally agree. As you and I are both big fans of video, we've been producing content on video for a long time. I remember some of my early work. Maybe you have similar memories of yours. Looking back at it now was a little bit cringeworthy because we didn't have the production value at that time. But I'm a big fan of video. I think they say a picture says 1,000 words. A video says 1,000 words. It's definitely a great medium, and the internet has finally caught up with the capability that anyone can stream a very large video it loads in nanoseconds now, where it used to have to buffer and it's awful back in the day.
True. It was true. Yeah, it was terrible. But
my final question will be one that asks you to predict the future. But before I asked you that question, I had you on my show 5 years ago and asked you the same question that I'm going to ask you. Here was your answer from 5 years ago.
Okay.
Vietnam, first of all, it's actually been, they've been shifting manufacturing from China to Vietnam for some years now. Initially because of the low labor rate, but in actual fact, it's catching up fast, and that benefit is really quite narrow now. But that was the initial driver for Vietnam, and I think that will continue. Going on to the China plus one strategy, I do see that happening, and because I honestly think a lot of companies and some countries, of course, are basically losing trust in China as a trading partner. Now, they can't afford to ignore China because it's such a huge market in itself, but they don't want to be involved there when there's so many different issues going on and so many different political issues, the trade wars, etc., which people think is going to be an ongoing situation for the next decade, no matter what administration's in. So, there are people who are seriously considering spreading the risk and taking the risk away from having everything based in the one place in China.
Wow, well, I wasn't far off, was I?
You could have said that. You could have said that yesterday. Particularly the political instability and pressures and all that. It's like that's right out of today's news. So
Right.
I think that 5-year-old prediction has aged well. Any updates on that? Anything that you want to update on that? Because my question to you is, how well did your prediction hold up? And if you had to predict one major industry shift coming in the next 5 years, what would it be? So how did your prediction hold up? Is it still a China plus one? Who's the plus one? Is that Vietnam? Is that Mexico? Whatever. And then give me your next 5-year prediction so I can play it 5 years from now and hopefully catch you in something.
Well, I think first of all, the prediction I made 5 years ago is playing out, and we are moving to a policy of regionalization, although we're making a bit of a ham of it, to be perfectly honest. I think the easiest way to make this actually happen would be for the United States administration and the European administration to simply say, look, all high rel manufacturing must be done within the continent. So end to end. So in other words, anything, and you determine where high rail starts. Does it start at the automotive and move up to communication devices, to medical and military? Where does it start? Where does it end? But I think, frankly, they should do that, and then they would understand better that we need a full end-to-end supply chain. But looking ahead, there's so many things that coming down the pipe in the next 5 years. There's almost too many to mention. We've got proliferation of driverless cars. There's going to be predictive health sensors, digital currency. The government's going to be able to see everything. It's just not particularly
That's
fun.
a little scary.
Yep. Evils, these flying cars. Agentic AI, of course, is going to come out, and hopefully some way is going to be found to stop the proliferation of superintelligence killing off mankind, because if we don't find some way of harnessing it, it's going to be a real issue.
Yeah.
And then
the industry owes me something. I grew up with reading Popular Mechanics and Popular Science magazine, right? When I was a kid.
Okay.
I was nerdy as a kid. And every prediction was by the year 2000. Now, keep in mind, this is in the 60s and late 60s and 70s when I was reading these magazines. The year 2000 was, relatively speaking, 1,000 years from now. That's way into the future, when I was a kid. By the year 2000, we will have, among many other things, flying cars. And we've missed that mark. We've exceeded expectations on so many fronts. But the world owes me flying cars, Trevor. So I'm hoping that 5 years from now I'll play that, and I'm going to hold it against you if it doesn't happen. But they're
coming. They're here. They're here. They're here already.
Yeah, but in terms of scale, right? In terms of adoption, it's a little scary to think, because right now I live in a town where it's kind of known to have scary drivers on the road, and I can't imagine if you add X, Y, Z component to driving, what's going to happen. But at any rate, we'll wait and see.
That's true. I mean, I think they're going to have to obviously follow the road network or something like that. You can't have them flying over everybody's houses and gardens, can you?
Right.
But I think Elon's just been given a license to go from New York City Center out to JFK, for with some kind of flying car, smaller aircraft, shall I say?
Yeah, sure. Well, they used to have many of the airlines. Pan Am had this for a long time back when they were in business. They had a shuttle service from New York right along the river. There was a helipad right along the river, and they had passenger helicopters that would ferry them to JFK or wherever. Those were, in fact, those businesses still exist, although not in the same scale that they used to before. But it's It's
Right.
history repeating itself, just in a higher tech fashion.
Well, we've got to get some way to get around that traffic. I mean, that's for sure. So, but anyway, just to sort of finish off the question,
Yeah.
at the end of all of this, what is going to be here in the next 5 years, I predict is going to be quantum computing. I think it's going to get here faster than people think it will. And when it does, it's going to be a huge game changer. You know, everything will be able to get done so much faster, so much quicker. That and it will bring challenges as well, because I mean, you know, it'll be able to crack cryptocurrencies and stuff like that very quick. You know, so it's going to have a lot of security issues around it as well. But it's going to come.
Yeah,
very
quantum
quickly.
computing kind of fell off the PR train for a while. I think AI is. I think it's sitting in AI shadow right now. You know, the public can generally only handle so many like key leading conversations, and we did a lot of talk about quantum computers. I chair the PAMPAC conference in Hawaii, and I brought in a keynote speaker several years ago to speak about from Dartmouth College, a professor, to speak about quantum computing, kind of quantum computing for dummies, you know, for us regular people.
Right. Right.
And that was a kind of a hot buzzword topic, and it's just been overshadowed now by AI. AI is because AI has applications that are in use now, right? And quantum is in use, but it's still very niche and theoretical.
Fastest growing stock this year.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So someone's seeing a future there, for sure.
Oh, well, actually, yeah, and someone you know as well. What do you call it? The former CEO of Cyber Optics.
There you go.
Yeah, so he went off and joined a quantum computing company called Rigetti, and it went through the roof. You know,
wow.
Literally. You know.
Yeah. Well, they're impressive machines. They look like again, going back to the 1960s, you know, view of the future. It looked like physically something out of Star Trek. You know, these quantum computers that are tall and half of them are immersed in fluid, and I saw IBM's quantum computer, and just from an aesthetic standpoint, oh my God, it looks like something that would be in a Stanley Kubrick movie. You know, Hal, open the bay doors, Hal. You know, that type of thing. I don't think Hollywood could make it look any sexier.
I wonder if IBM's going to predict that the world only needs 6 or 7 of them.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you do build the world's superest computer, that's a phrase I'm making up, superest computer. How many companies can use that, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. Well, Trevor Galbraith, thank you so much for being my guest today. It's always good to see you, my friend. I'd rather see you in person, but I'll take you in pixel form whenever I can. So I appreciate that. For my viewers, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you'd like to get information on Trevor's entire portfolio of magazines, just look down here where it says see more, and I'll provide links to those magazines right there. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, of course, look at that podcast app and you'll get links to all those magazines. If you don't already know, I would be surprised if you didn't already know. But for those few that are brand new rising stars, that information will be there. So Trevor, I look forward to seeing you in March in Anaheim at the IPC Apex Expo. And
likewise,
sitting in your booth and interviewing some people and catching up with you. We'll have to go out for a pint or 10 and
absolutely,
catch up.
No, absolutely look forward to it. I think it's going to be an exciting time, and I think it's going to be a great show this year. Yeah,
I have good expectations. There seems to be a little buzz around it. I talk to my people, and they're hearing buzz about it. So, we're not a Prototronica, but that's certainly the biggest show in North America, for our space specifically. So I'm excited about it. Well, Trevor, thanks again for being my guest. It's always great to catch up to you, and I'll see you very, very soon, in just a couple of months.
Thanks very much, Mike. Thank you.
And that's a wrap on another episode of Reliability Matters. Thanks for hanging out. Whether you listen to this on your favorite podcast app or watched on YouTube, I really appreciate you being here. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes. On YouTube, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Those 2 simple clicks really help us expand our reach. A big thanks to PCB Chat from the Printed Circuit Engineering Association at pcbchat.com and Ascendo Reliability at reliability.fm for syndicating the show. Got a question or an idea for a future episode? I'd love to hear from you. Just shoot me an email at mike@reliabilitymatterspodcast.com. Want to learn more about the podcast? Head over to reliabilitymatterspodcast.com. Thanks again for being here. Until next time, keep learning, keep doing it right, and remember, reliability matters. I'll see you again soon.
Thanks for listening to the Reliability Matters podcast. Join us on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of each month for new episodes of Reliability Matters.